Very good morning, friends. I am Sachin from Sachin's Academy, Sangrur, and today I am in front of you with the novel Oliver Twist. Okay, so we will be dealing with the novel Oliver Twist, the brief summary of this novel, and I hope you all remember that this novel was being written by Sir Charles Dickens, and this is the third part that we are to deal with today. Okay, so this is the novel Oliver Twist. We are dealing with the brief summary of it, being written by Charles Dickens, and we are to deal with the third part of this novel. So let's proceed. Fagin was not only training Oliver, right? Fagin was not only training Oliver, but also he was convincing him that their company, that is, in which Oliver was at that time, but he was also convincing him that their company was still better than being completely alone. Right? So Mr. Sykes planned to rob a house, and for this work, he needed a small boy for the job. Fagin offered him Oliver's services. Yes, he warned Oliver that he would kill him if he showed any signs of hesitation during the robbery. So, they finally decided to rob the house the night after the next day. Fagin agreed that Nancy would deliver Oliver to him. Nancy came there to pick Oliver up and to take him to Sykes. So, actually, what is going to happen is that they were planning to rob a house the night after the next day, and for that, they needed the services of a little boy or a small boy, and Fagin offered Oliver's services. Okay. Sykes also threatened him with a gun that if he caused any trouble, first Oliver was threatened by Fagin, and now Sykes also threatened him with a gun that if he caused any trouble during the robbery, he would kill him. So at 1:30, they arrived at the targeted house, and Oliver realized at that moment that he would be made to participate in a robbery. Okay? So Sykes pushed him through the cellar window, and just as he was to run all through the house and wake the family, two men burst in on him, and even they fired a gun. When Oliver did not move, Sykes dragged him out and realized that he has been shot in the arm. And so Sykes carries him along. So this is the situation that two men burst in on him and fired a gun, and Sykes dragged Oliver out of the cellar window, found that he has been shot, and finally carried him out. Okay. Mr. Bumble stopped by to see Mrs. Corney. You know Mrs. Corney? She was a widowed matron of the house, that's the workhouse, where Oliver was born. Yes, so Mr. Bumble stopped by to see Mrs. Corney, the widowed matron of the workhouse where Oliver was born. He brought her a bottle of wine, and in return, he accepted a cup of tea from her. Just then, an old woman from the workhouse came in to tell her that a woman was on her deathbed and she was requesting her presence. Right? So, exactly one woman from the workhouse came to call Mrs. Corney that there is another lady by the name Old Sally who wanted to meet her. So, she went down to the room of the sick old woman, Old Sally. Old Sally finally confessed that she once robbed a woman in her care. That woman had been found pregnant on the road, and that Sally had attended the childbirth along with the doctor then. I hope you understand. Okay. That particular pregnant woman was Oliver's mother, and she had given Old Sally a gold locket, right? That pregnant lady who gave birth to a child and finally died was Oliver's mother, and she had given Sally a gold locket, saying it might lead to the people who would care for her child. Mrs. Corney was disappointed that she did not find out more of the information. She was very disappointed because old Sally was dead. So she returns back. In the meanwhile, Fagin had learned from a newspaper that the robbery had failed. Toby Crackit informed him that Oliver had been shot, and he also claimed that he and Sykes fled, thus leaving him in a ditch. So Toby Crackit finally told Fagin about the situation, that they left Oliver in a ditch. Fagin rushed to Sykes' residence and found Nancy, who cried that she hoped Oliver was dead. Okay? It was only because she believed that living with Fagin was worse than death. Okay. He returned and found monks waiting for him. Right? He asked Fagin why he had chosen to send Oliver out on such a mission. So that person by the name Monks asked Fagin as to why he had chosen to send Oliver out on such a mission. It is clear that Monks had some interest in Oliver. He was looking for him and saw him the day he was arrested. Moreover, Fagin also noted that Monks wanted Oliver to be made into a hardened thief. The reason was not clear, but exactly what Fagin noted was that Monks wanted Oliver to be made into a hardened thief. Mr. Bumble mentioned Mrs. Corney that the current master of the workhouse was on his deathbed. Now, Mr. Bumble, who was there with Mrs. Corney, he mentioned her that the current master of that workhouse was on his deathbed, and he even hinted her that he could fill the vacancy and marry her, to which she immediately agreed. Since Mrs. Corney was a widowed matron, so when Mr. Bumble hinted that he could fill the vacancy of the workhouse and marry her, she immediately agreed. Okay. Mrs. Corney told him that after she was married to him, that is, Mrs. Corney told Mr. Bumble that after she was married to him, she would tell him what had happened that night. Which night? The night when Oliver was born. She told him to make funeral arrangements for old Sally. So Mr. Bumble immediately went to Mr. Sowerberry. As he ran through the fields, Sykes brings Oliver with him, fires his pistol, and ran. The men from the house gave up on the chase on hearing the gunshot, and they finally went back to the house. Oliver woke up alone in the field, and he immediately realized that he had to get some help or he would die alone in the field. Right? He wandered to the house, knocked the door, and finally collapsed again. Okay. The servants of the house, they answered the door to find him there, and they called one of the mistresses of the house, who decided to take care of him. Mrs. Maylie was the aunt of a beautiful young girl, Rose, a young girl of around 17. The butler told them a bit about the shooting, but he didn't tell them that Oliver was a boy. Dr. Losburn, the bachelor surgeon, proceeded to attend to Oliver. He returned and asked them to see the thief, and they accompanied him. When Rose saw him, she wept on his face, lamenting that so young and so innocent looking boy could not be an evil. Okay? So they were amazed to see a little boy there. Okay. Nothing would be decided about what to do with him. Nothing would be decided about what to do with him till he woke up and they could judge if he had an evil character or not. Oliver woke up and he was very grateful that he was being taken care of. And finally he told them the story of his upbringing. Obviously, they all were in tears, and as he was finished, he fell back to sleep. Now the butler was confused, and he could not confirm if Oliver was the boy that he saw that night. The police officers from London were summoned, and they examined the crime scene, and finally they departed. So the matter was settled without any further incident. Okay. Over the weeks, Oliver slowly begins to recover. Right? He even offered to work for the family. If they would let him stay, and they ascended easily. He laments not being able to tell Mr. Brownlow what had happened to him. Dr. Losburn takes him to London to see them. But to his bitter disappointment, Mr. Brownlow, Mrs. Bedwin, and Mr. Grimwig had moved to the West Indies. Mrs. Maylie and Miss Rose then took him to the countryside where his health improved vastly, as do his reading and writing skills. They all became attached to each other during the time they spent together. Very good. One evening, Rose ended up falling very ill, and they all feared that she was going to die. Mrs. Maylie gave Oliver a letter to deliver to the nearest town that would bring Dr. Losberne to them. On his return journey, Oliver prayed earnestly for Rose, and the next night, Dr. Losberne came to help them. But after he examined Rose, he told them that there was a little hope for her survival. Okay. But the next morning, Dr. Losberne gave the news that Rose had awakened, and they all rejoiced the news. So now Rose was all right, and there is nothing to worry about. Okay. Oliver too was overjoyed at the news that she would recover, and was gathering flowers along the road for her room. He was gathering the flowers for Rose along the road for her room when a young gentleman, Harry, who's Harry? He is Mrs. Maylie's son, arrived to see Rose and gives her his love. He had an affectionate meeting with his mother, Mrs. Maylie, who warned him against this talking vaguely of Rose becoming past. So she warned him against this talking vaguely of Rose unbecoming past. Rose recovers. Oliver continued hard at studies. Harry declared his love to Rose, though she returned his love and said that she could not marry him owing to the circumstances of her birth. So Harry declared his love to Rose, but she returned it. Okay. This is the end of this part. I hope you understand the third part of this novel, right? So please subscribe the channel for more. And students, please like and share the video. And mind it, part 4 will come soon. So it's me, Sachin Mittal, saying goodbye to all of you. Take care of yourself. Stay at home. Stay safe. Good night.